So I feel like this idea pops up over social media like every single year around this time. That's because the NBA and the NHL season have started, and as you know, these teams or these leagues, they have 82 regular season games because these teams can afford to play that. It's not taking a toll on their body like the NFL does. Obviously, the main problem with having an 82 game season for the NFL is injury, and I'm going to go through this Twitter thread real quick just to show you some funny memes about it. Yes, I'm not calling it X. Like, here's a good example. Here's the coaches telling the O-line how to get back to their cars in the parking lot. Derrick Henry after game 35. Is bro dead? Obviously, the main joke here is CTE, which is pretty funny to talk about, but also kind of sad because then you're gonna have players like Antonio Brown and like Chandler Jones who can't help it. Look at this, Cleveland by week 4. Travis Kelce by game 30. Whoa! What you're witnessing here is Aaron Rodgers' Achilles collapsing in week 42. I lied. This is actually Aaron Rodgers after 3 minutes of playing Sunday Night Football. Saquon by week 2. I mean, I think what you understand from this is that the NFL can't have an 82 game season. Basically, we'll just have a bunch of zombies walking around. It would just completely destroy them mentally and physically. But leave it up for me to do that on Madden 24 because I will be simulating 82 total games. Shown in this graphic right here, you can see what that contributes into regular season wise. It's about 5 regular seasons if you do the math. So yeah, I'll be simulating this total amount of games in Madden 24 franchise mode, but I'll also be doing a little bit extra to make it a little bit more fun. I will be keeping tracks of current stats. So we'll start with the quarterbacks I'll be stat keeping for, which will be Tua, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. I try to choose who I think is the best players right now at this very instance of recording. Running backs are a little weird though because we'll have Christian McCaffrey, that's a lock, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Swift. Yes, bro, try to throw DeAndre Swift in there. I mean, to be honest, the running back market right now is just pretty bad. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is definitely the one, but currently the number 2 and number 3 running backs, according to stats right now, are Zach Moss and Travis Etienne. I don't really think I want to include them in this. For our 4 wide receivers, we'll do Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, and Cooper Kupp, and it probably just hit you like a light bulb. Where is Justin Jefferson? He's on IR, so I didn't want to include him, and Kirk Cousins is out for the year, so it really wouldn't help him that much. So I decided to do these 4 wide receivers right here who've been the most consistent. Even Cooper Kupp, only been playing like 2 games, is still pretty solid. And of course, that wasn't enough for me, so here's some wild card players which will also be stat keeping for. Travis Kelce, he's basically a receiver at this point, can't leave him off. I added Lamar Jackson as well because I want to see his rushing stats as well. And then I did 2 defensive players today, probably the most dominant ones, Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. But for our final 4 players, which will be stat keeping for, it's our rookies. I decided to do 4 rookies today. CJ Stroud, the best rookie quarterback right now. Bijan Robinson, the best rookie running back. Puka Nacua, and Jordan Addison. I would have really liked to do Anthony Richardson, but once again, he's out for the season, so these are the 4 rookies we'll be keeping track of, which equals out to 20 total players I'll be stat keeping for. So, we're going to start simulating right now, game 1, and we'll progress through the regular season. Well, our first act of matter before we start game number 1, let's go ahead and bump up this setting just a tad teeny bit. Okay, maybe this is a little too unrealistic. I still want a high injury because it would be pretty reasonable. Let's put it like 50. Alright, let's do our first simulation. This will jump us up to around week 9. You know, I don't think we should continue any further in this video. I've seen enough. Looks like the Vikings have trusted Jaren Hall, the rookie, to fill in the gap for Kirk Cousins. Actually not doing too bad. But a couple of our guys that we're keeping track of are already at the top. Patrick Mahomes, look at this, 2,000 yards and an 18-6 ratio. Josh Jacobs so far through 8 weeks is the best rusher. And I'd figured this would happen because Madden loves to suck off Cooper Kupp. He's currently the number 1 wide receiver. Alright, so now let's go ahead and simulate up to what would be week 17, the final week, but this is only just the beginning. As expected, this is a very basic top 10 teams. Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Cowboys, Niners, yada yada yada. Patrick Mahomes had quite the start to this 82 game season. Look at the numbers here. Derrick Henry almost put up a 20 touchdown season, and the Cooper Kupp love train continues. 16 touchdowns, almost 2,000 yards. Alright, so just to show you what this looks on my end, I really suck at Excel, so don't really get mad at me about that, but I made all these tables which has all the numbers, all the stats, and I'm keeping track of all the wins. As you can see, I'm doing this to 82, so this is a lot on my end, but it's going to be worth it. Here's a look at some quick stats if you really want to pause and read. Okay, I kid you not, literally 4 minutes ago, I don't know if you can see this or not, but that's Joshua Dobbs, and he just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings, so I'm going to put him as a starting quarterback from here on out, starting now at game 18. So yes, here's your new starter for the Minnesota Vikings starting in game 18. Yeah, I'm already getting really impatient, so we're just going to go ahead and simulate up to week 34. Okay, that move looked like it did nothing for the Minnesota Vikings. Matter of fact, they got worse in this game stretch. They did better between games 1 and 17. Once again, Patrick Mahomes put on a show, almost 40 touchdowns again, and single digits in interceptions. Damn, okay, the rookie Bijan Robinson, which we're keeping track of, he finished second out of the entire league with 18 touchdowns, 1,800 yards, up to 340 carries. Madden has zero originality. Cooper Kupp is probably going to be at the top of the receivers every single year I simulate. As far as standings, nothing crazy yet is happening in this 82 game season. Currently the Niners, Chiefs, Cowboys, Ravens, all these teams are putting up high win seasons. And after giving up their prized possession of Joshua Dobbs, the Cardinals almost just faced the 0-17 season. Once again, this is what my Excel spreadsheet looks like going into week 35. Alright, I'm actually going to simulate all the way up to week 51. And it's kind of funny to say that because take this in consideration. If we played one NFL game every single week from where we're at right now, let's just say we started in January 1st, the first week of the year, January 1st, 2023. If we're on week 51, it would be around Christmas 2023. Even funnier is that we just barely crossed the halfway point of this season. So if we were to go full 82 total weeks with one game a week, the season would end around July 2024. So starting in January 2023 to July 2024. Now obviously playing one game a week in this current format is really stupid. I mean, look at the NBA and NHL. It's not spaced out like that. It wouldn't even work. It would overlap. They obviously play 3 games a week about. I mean, Patrick Mahomes continues to light it up. Here we are at game 51. He's still putting up these numbers. How is his brain not turned to mush already? And both Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry take up the 1 and 2 of running backs in this current stretch. And even though we're not stat keeping him, I'm so glad to see that it's not Cooper Kupp at the #1 wide receiver out of this stretch as well. And once again, we're a little across the halfway point of the season. Here's the statistics that we have. Alright, this is taking too long. Time to simulate up to week 68. I'm sure at this point it's just Paralympic football. Everyone's just playing in wheelchairs. Looks like the Chargers are going to make a back half push for the playoffs, 15-2 on this stretch. As for the Cardinals, I think they're already probably eliminated from contention. As for rushing, #1 is the rookie Bijan Robinson. I'm so glad I kept track of him in today's video. And now we're on to our final stretch, which is 14 total games. And we finally made it to game 82. You can see we're currently at week 16 of regular season, which makes no sense at all, but I had to get to a point where every team played 14 total games to finally close it out to 82. So now we're looking at our final stretch. This is really going to determine who's going to make the playoffs or not. The Cowboys are already in, and they just made it even better. They might get the 1 seed in the NFC. As for the Cardinals, they were on pace for another 1-16 season. They are lucky I stopped them. I guess it was a down year for the other quarterbacks because Mahomes is the only quarterback here in the top 10. Literally Hurts, 2, and Allen are nowhere to be seen. Always good to see the original Derrick Henry at top of the rushing leaderboard. And in case you haven't noticed, the sky in fact is blue. And so that concludes the 82 game regular season. Now we have all the statistics posted in this Excel spreadsheet, but this probably looks like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, so let me fix it up. Let me put in some nice graphics for you guys. So let's start with the statistics first, starting with the quarterbacks. In 4th place was Josh Allen. Now he threw 133 touchdowns through an 82 game season. What you'll see right next to it is in parentheses, that's going to be the average what they threw per game. So he threw 1.6 touchdowns per game. And of course it's a big number, so it's going to look pretty good, but 16,000 yards puts him in 4th place. He averaged just under 198 yards a game, but he had 37 interceptions on top of that. In 3rd place we had 2, and honestly I expected more from him. I guess Madden still underestimates his ability. He had 130 touchdowns at 16,300 yards with 32 interceptions. 2nd place we had Jalen Hurts, almost at 140 touchdowns. He actually had a pretty good bit of yards, 19,000 yards. That averaged 232 a game, and he threw 34 interceptions. But I'm sure you saw this coming. 1st place for the quarterbacks was easily going to be Patrick Mahomes, almost 200 touchdowns. He averaged 2.3 a game, and he threw 21,637 yards, which averaged 264 yards per game, and he threw the least interceptions at 28. Let's go to running backs now. Of course, DeAndre Swift is going to be 4th. I just had to throw him in there because, you know, obviously the Eagles O-line is really good, and there's just not really a bunch of good running backs this year. But he had 68 touchdowns, about 5,300 yards, and he had 1,371 attempts, which means he averaged 16.7 carries a game. To my surprise, CMC was 3rd place. If this was based off real life stats right now and he played the 82 game season, he'd probably be 1st, but still nonetheless, 65 touchdowns, almost 7,000 yards off of 1,200 attempts. Pretty solid. 2nd place for the halfbacks was Josh Jacobs with 64 touchdowns. He had 7,785 yards, which was just under 95 yards a game, and 1,400 attempts. And in 1st place, of course, it's going to be Derrick Henry, 68 touchdowns, almost 8,000 yards, which puts him just shy of 100 yards per game on average. And look at his attempts, 2,500 carries. That equals out to about 30 a game. I mean, of course, it's Derrick Henry. He's going to punch the rock a lot. Let's go to receivers. AJ Brown, just like DeAndre Swift from the Eagles, are in 4th place here, but I mean, there's a lot of weapons, a lot of good players players in the Eagles. Can't blame them. 36 touchdowns, 5,168 yards, and 414 receptions. Kind of low statistics for the receivers. It means he averaged 5 receptions a game and 63 yards. In third place, just matching up with Tua, definitely underestimating Tyreek Hill. Only 43 touchdowns, only 5,178 yards, and only 367 receptions. Kind of weak. He only averaged 4.5 catches a game. Second place is Stephon Diggs. Doesn't get much better with 44 touchdowns, 5,100 yards, and 421 receptions. But blowing it out of proportion was Cooper Kupp at first place. I knew this was going to happen, so that's why I included him. 62 touchdowns, 7,500 yards, which means he averaged 93 yards a game, and 541 receptions. That is an 82 game season stat line right there. And if you remember, I decided to pick 4 wild card players just for some other statistics to keep track of. We have Lamar Jackson. I probably should emphasize this more, but I only kept track of his rushing stats. So this is his rushing right here. 32 rushing touchdowns, 3,400 rushing yards, and 709 attempts. Not too bad. I just want to see what he compared to the other running backs. And you know I had to include Travis Kelce. If I put him with the wide receivers, he would have been second out of the 5. 56 touchdowns, 5,200 yards, and 436 receptions. That's really good for a tight end. And then I decided to do 2 defensive players, which I really didn't do too much for. I just did tackles and sacks. 424 tackles for TJ Watt, averaged of 5.2 a game, but he almost averaged 1 sack a game at a total of 79.5. And then Myles Garrett, kind of weak, 283 tackles with 3.5 a game, and then only 67 sacks. Alright, let's look at the rookies. CJ Stroud threw 105 touchdowns, averaging 1.3 a game, 16,497 yards, and 59 interceptions. That's kind of high. I'm excited to see this one. It's Bijan Robinson, who had 76 touchdowns, almost 7,500 yards, and 1,500 attempts. That definitely matches up with the running backs we kept track of up top. You know I had to do it. Puka Nacua only had 21 touchdowns, 4,400 yards, and 368 receptions. I mean, after all, he is a rookie, and Cooper Kupp basically just took his job back. And I know it's kind of contradicting to include Jordan Addison, because I said I wouldn't include Justin Jefferson because Kirk Cousins got injured, but I kind of just want to see how he would do. 22 touchdowns, 4,900 yards, and 472 receptions. Not too bad. Alright, now it's time for what you've probably been waiting for. What are the standings going to look like? So we'll start with the NFC North, where you can see the Chicago Bears, what's new, 21-61. Because the Minnesota Vikings lost Kirk Cousins, they really didn't do too good. But what I'm really surprised at right here is the Lions finished under 500, and I guess Madden just still thinks we live in 2011 or something, because the Green Bay Packers would not win the NFC North. I can tell you that much right now. But to the NFC East, it makes a little bit more sense. The Commanders did finish negative, the Giants as well at 40-42, but the Eagles finished with 55 wins, didn't get the division win, as the Cowboys finished with 65 total wins. I'll go and spoil it right now. That's the most wins out of any team in this video. Let's take a look at the NFC South now, with the Buccaneers at last place, and then you're going to have both the Panthers and Saints up next, but the Atlanta Falcons coming out with a division win with 55 total wins. And then going into the NFC West, by far the worst team in this video was the Arizona Cardinals. Up next was the Seahawks with 35 wins, the Rams just above with 36, and then the NFC West winners were the Niners with 59 wins. Matter of fact, I had to Google what was the worst ever season for an NBA or NHL team, and the Cardinals actually got pretty close to being on that track. The worst ever season recorded by an NBA team was the Charlotte Bobcats, who went 7-59. That almost matches up with the Cardinals going 11-71 here. Okay, let's look at the AFC. Starting with the AFC North, both the Browns and Steelers finished 36-46, and then the Ravens did pretty solid, 52-win season, but just one game short of the AFC North winners, the Cincinnati Bengals at 53-29. Now up to the AFC East, you can't help that Aaron Rodgers got injured. The Jets were the worst team in the AFC. The Patriots were next, and the Dolphins did not do as good as I thought, only winning 43 games, but the Bills won the division at 56 wins. Next up is the AFC South. Not what I expected out of this division. I expected the Colts to be a little bit better. The Texans almost finished even at 500, but then you have the Jaguars getting second place because the Titans won the tiebreaker at a 45-37 record. And finally, the AFC West makes much sense as possible. The Broncos finished last place. The Raiders actually went over 500 to my surprise. The Chargers, pretty good season, 52 wins, but the Chiefs obviously get it done with the best record in the AFC at 58 wins to 24 losses. Now, even though I was talking about division winners, it's actually irrelevant because I will be doing the playoffs like how it is in the NBA or NHL. 16 total teams, best of 7 series. So division winners don't matter anymore. So as you can see right here, this is what the playoff seedings would look like if we had 1 through 8 for each conference. Like I said, no division winners matter at all. It's just ordered how much wins they had, which will give us this playoff bracket right here. Remember, these are best of 7 series, and we're not stopping until we have a Super Bowl champion in an 82 game season NBA NHL format, starting with the Chiefs and Dolphins. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna do one more thing before we get to the playoffs, but this is actually pretty interesting because it's about money, and because we know the NFL is a corporation, they live off of that. So let's start with the basics. We know the NFL season is 17 weeks long, which is about 4.25 months. Now, an NBA or an NHL season, which is 82 games, that's what we're going for here, is about 25 weeks. So let's say we played all 82 NFL games in 25-week span, which is about 8.3 months. Now, let's keep that in mind. I'll have it on the screen right here, but let's go to this. The NFL made a total of $18.6 billion in revenue in 2022. That does not count any expenses. That's just how much money they made. So if we take this large number right here, the total revenue, and we divide it by total weeks in a year, there's 52 weeks in a year. If we do that, we get $357.7 million. That's how much money the NFL, on average, a rough estimate, made a week. So now let's take that value of $357.7 million and times it by 17 weeks, this being how many weeks are in an NFL season. So you can see the NFL regular season with 17 weeks, you get $6.1 billion in revenue. However, if we keep on going a step further, if we take that same value now times it by 25 weeks, we will get $8.9 billion. So you can see there's a pretty big difference right there. If we did the NFL season with 82 games in 25 weeks, we would get almost $3 billion more in revenue for the regular season. However, keep in mind that that's just the regular season. So here is this. If the NFL made $6.1 billion during a 17-game regular season, then that makes roughly 33% of the season income, which leaves 66% of the other income to be from the postseason, the Super Bowl, the playoff games. So as you can see here, 33% of $18.6 billion is how much money the NFL made in 2022, equals out to be $6.1 billion. Now, if we use that logic right here, we can take the new revenue for the 25-week season, because that's what we're fitting all our 82 games into, which is $8.9 billion. We can times it by 3, because we know 33% is basically saying 1/3 of something, so we do the opposite, you times it by 3. So you get $8.9 billion times 3, which equals $26.7 billion. And that is how much money the NFL would make if they moved to an 82 game season in 25 weeks. Now, obviously, all this is hypothetical, because let's be honest, who is going to watch all 82 regular season games? I mean, you can be a devoted fan, but you have to work. You have stuff going on in your life. You're not going to be able to watch every single game. Obviously, what makes it so easy to watch NFL games is that there's only 17 of them, and it's on Sunday, the least busiest day of the week. I mean, sure, there's devoted fans who watch all 82 games out there. Don't get me started on baseball fans. I don't know how the hell you could watch any more than 10 games, yet alone 162. But see, we're just keeping in mind, if the NFL got the same revenue for 82 total games, this is what it would turn out to be: $26.7 billion, which is $8 billion more than what they made in 2022. That's kind of crazy. Okay, let's start the playoffs now. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to show you all 7 games of each series, because that would take way too long, and we're already stretching 20 minutes. But nonetheless, this is Game 6 between the Dolphins and Chiefs. We are in Miami right now. If the Dolphins can win this game, they will force a Game 7 going back to Kansas City. But right now, it's not looking like that, as the Chiefs have a 10-point lead. Can the Dolphins respond with a touchdown? They get it. Will they get the ball back and get a touchdown here? And they will not. The Chiefs stop them. So the Chiefs will win in 6, and they'll move on to the second round. Okay, so this is Game 7 between the Chargers and the Ravens, and it looks like the LA Chargers only have 70 seconds to strike the end zone without any timeouts from the 35-yard line in Ravens territory. So Justin Herbert's going to step up. Almost looked like it was past the line of scrimmage. I would have just run that one. What were you doing there? Because now it's going to be 2nd and 7 with 40 seconds left, and it looks like Justin Herbert's going to do the same thing. This time he's actually going to run for it. If he was smart, he would go out of bounds and not slide, but the Madden AI strikes again. I mean, it's crazy that we have AIs generating full pictures of our own descriptive sentences, but Madden AI cannot slide out of bounds. Who am I kidding? This is actually just the Chargers play calling in general. So now with only 13 seconds left, okay, that's what we're actually supposed to do, except no one's there. Well, this led them to the final play, 3rd and 10, zeros on the clock, and okay, it's a touchdown. All right, extra point ties this game up to Gerald Everett. Okay, maybe we'll have overtime. Oh my goodness, I love this decision. I take back anything I said about your play calling. This is amazing. They're going for 2 to win the game. Hand it off to Austin Eckler. It's going to be a game winner off a 2-point conversion. Oh my goodness. I can only imagine how hyped this would be if this was real life and it was an actual Game 7 series and they did that to end the series. I mean, it's all or nothing Game 7. That is an insane call. Well, Bengals are actually up 3-0, so they're going to go for a sweep right here in Tennessee. Currently tied at 7 right now. Going into the second quarter, around halftime, the Bengals will take a 14-7 lead as the Titans get it back. Can't do anything with it, so now a 21-14 lead right now. Bengals score another touchdown, and it looks like, at the look of things right now, if the Bengals can hold this lead, lead, which they will do so and extend it. The Bengals will get the first sweep of the video, sweeping the Titans, which I'm really surprised about because didn't they get destroyed by them in the regular season? Alright, so yet again, another Game 6 scenario here in Jacksonville. If the Jaguars can force a Game 7, they'll go back for Buffalo. So currently tied at 7 apiece, and going into the locker room, the score will still be 7 apiece. Going to the third quarter now, 14-7, the Bills are going to end it here, but no, the Jaguars are fighting back. They want to stay alive. They want to fight for Game 7 as they have the lead right now, and we will have a Game 7 in Buffalo between the Jaguars and the Bills. Honestly, nothing sounds as cool as a snowy Game 7, but the Jaguars are down by 5 here, and they need a touchdown with no timeout. So Trevor Lawrence is going to stay in the pocket looking for a pass. A smart decision, but what was not smart about that was taking the sack after just staring at blank spaces for 20 seconds right there. So third down and 12, probably the final play of the game. Just going to be a Hail Mary. Can he get it complete in the snow? It's going to get a pretty far distance. I lied. It's like 30 yards and just threw an interception. Okay, well, that's the way to end it right there. The Buffalo Bills get it done in 7. We'll move on to the next round. So this is what the AFC side of the bracket looks like after finishing the wild card round, or really round 1. There is no wild cards anymore. So now we'll go to the NFC and start with the Cowboys and Panthers. Yeah, I don't even have to show you the rest of this series. This one was destined to be a sweep from the start. I mean, what kind of playoff matchup is this? The Cowboys versus Panthers? Are you kidding me? This next matchup was equally as boring because the Packers are just not a good team right now. You can debate that they're a bottom 3 team in the league right now, and they didn't get swept though. They got gentlemen swept, which means they lost this one 4-1 to the Eagles. I mean, here we have a semi-entertainable series between the Falcons and Saints. Right now, the New Orleans Saints are trying to force a Game 7 in Atlanta, currently tied at 24 apiece. Let's see if the Falcons can get it done. They cannot, and it looks like we have overtime. Who will score first? It will be the New Orleans Saints on a field goal, so they will force Game 7, and we're going to the ATL. 2-point game, 2-minute warning from Game 7 between the Saints and the Falcons. First down, Michael Thomas. 82 seconds on the clock from the 45-yard line. Just going to run a check down to Alvin Kamara. He picks up to the 50, and he'll stop at the 49. Timeout's been called from the 43-yard line with 43 seconds. Derek Carr wants a big chunk of it right here. There's a flag, though. This is probably going to be PI on the defense, which is going to move him up. Let's see. Yeah, that's the case. A very unfortunate penalty to commit right there for the Atlanta Falcons, because now the New Orleans Saints are in field goal range after Michael Thomas just got head drilled into the ground, but nonetheless, they'll kick a field goal from here. And the field goal to make it 22-21. It's up, it's through. Saints have a lead. You know, leave it up to the Atlanta Falcons to lose 2 games in a row to eventually lose this series. The Saints get it done in 7. I feel like we've seen a lot of Game 6 and potential Game 7 forcers recently, but right now, the Niners, who have a lead in this series, looks like they're going to close this out in 6 on the road, as the Lions are just doing nothing right now. 31-7. How are you going to let this happen in front of your home audience? Oh my goodness. I mean, the Niners just dropped a 50 bomb. This is going to be me and Tilted once the OG map returns, but nonetheless, Niners finished this one out in 6, and we're done with round 1. I gotta say, these are some pretty interesting round 2 matchups. It's going to start with the Chiefs and Chargers in AFC. So the Chiefs and Chargers actually made it to Game 7 here in Kansas City. It's 27-24. Can maybe the Chargers pull off an upset? Nope, the Chiefs are moving on to the conference finals. Well, it looks like the Bills storm into Cincinnati and steal Joe Burrow's thunder. They win Game 6, and they'll move on to play the Chiefs in the semifinals, now going to the NFC. This Game 7 matchup is equivalent to basically the Lakers and Celtics Game 7, the NBA Finals, but currently right now, it's the Eagles on the road up 7-3, but not before the Cowboys get it back, don't do anything with it, and now they score a touchdown 10-7. It's a really low scoring game, now 9-10, and the Cowboys drain the clock out and win 10-9 in Game 7. Are you serious, Eagles? You're like one of the best scoring offenses, and you can't put up more than 10 points? Well, what would have been a fun 7-game series in 2019 turned into a gentleman's sweep in 2023. That's because the Saints will beat, or the Niners beat the Saints 4-1, and that will bring us into the conference final games for our final 4 teams. So the AFC Finals, Chiefs versus Bills, and the NFC Finals, the Cowboys versus Niners. Well, the Bills actually have a 3-2 lead, and if they can win this game at home, they can close it out in 6, but they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be tough nonetheless, home or away, and it's currently tied at 7 apiece right now. Going to the third quarter, the Bills have the first lead of the day, but the Chiefs will answer back with a field goal and a touchdown, so they take the lead. Bills go down and tie it up. Chiefs, can they get some points on the board? No, they cannot. Overtime, and the Bills will walk it off and head to the Super Bowl. Best of 7 Super Bowl, winning with a field goal in overtime and 6 over the Kansas City Chiefs, winning 20-17. Yeah, so when was the last time the Cowboys beat the Niners in the playoffs? In this case, the Niners win in 6. They win 29-27, which means we have our best of 7 Super Bowl set up. It's going to be the Bills versus the Niners. And because the Bills and Niners are both the 2 seeds, home field advantage is going to go to the team who has the higher wins. That's going to be the Niners. They finished with 59 wins. The Bills had 56. Niners have home field advantage. And it looks like home field advantage is coming in handy. Both these teams made it to Game 7 and overtime. A perfect ending. Bills are 3rd down and 10, but Josh Allen completes this one to the 49, and that 3rd down and 10 is erased. And now the Niners are in a little bit of trouble as the Bills approach midfield. Big down right here from the 48, stays short. James Cook delivers, and that's a 1st down to 35. Yet again, another 3rd down and 6. They've been clutch in these scenarios, however, as Josh Allen delivers a rocket, and it's delivered to the 7. Another 3rd down completion. This is going to be the death of the Niners. So the Bills got stopped to a 3rd down and goal. I'm surprised they're not just running the football. What was that? What are you guys doing? Do you guys want to lose? Interesting. They're going to go for it in 4th down and goal. They did not run the ball once. This is the first time running the football, and it didn't work. Why would you run the football on 4th down and goal, but 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down and goal, you pass it? That makes no sense. This is a pretty scary situation for the Niners here. They got to get a 1st down. They do not want to punt the football away, and Brock Purdy is looking a little hesitant, so he just floats it up, and really, that should have been intercepted. I don't know how you dropped that, Jordan Poyer, but now they got to punt the football nonetheless, and they're going to get the ball back right around that area. The Bills take over from their own 41-yard line. Any points win the game, and that's because Josh Allen's going to run play-action pass, and just like that, they're already in field goal range. A field goal is upcoming soon to win this in Game 7. So this kick is to put the end to the 82-game season and crown a Super Bowl champion. Sure enough, the Buffalo Bills, after 82 regular season games and about 20 plus playoff games, get it done in Game 7. There you have it. There's the result right there. And we'll have the final bracket on screen real quick just to show you that the Buffalo Bills got it done through this amount of games. And I also want to show you this right here real quick, which is going to give you a rundown of this entire video, including the Bills, who got MVP, how many total games are played, things on that manner. But anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. I'm sorry it's been taking me so long to make videos. I'm having a lot going on, and I will be delaying Infected 2. I did say I was uploading it this week. I'm delaying it next week because I just need more time to work on it. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching another video, and I will see you guys next time.